Welcome to our Detroit News High School football preview of our top 20 teams. And Tom, we've got a lot of the usual suspects that we always have from year to year in our top 20. We're going to start out at number 20 with Southfield, a team that in the OAA has become one of the powers there despite all of the other teams that have really given them trouble over the years.
Well, they're in a real balanced OAA white division, which includes Rochester Adams, Farmington Hills Harrison, Farmington, who has another fine team this year. But Southfield last year lost to Brother Rice in a regional final, 16-6, have many of their starters back. And the real question mark is how well Trey Walton, their slot back from last season, will take over the quarterback spot. Good athlete, he just has to learn the system.
Yeah, and they've really made their hay with a lot of athletic guys who can transition from one position to another on that offensive side of the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if they can reload and get that same type of chemistry going with those quick offensive guys. Continuing on with our top 20, at number 19 we have Monroe, Grand Ledges at 18, Zeeland West coming in at 17, and at 16 we have Holt. Number 15 is Lake Orion, 14 is Midland, number 13 is Canton, one of the usual teams that we see in this top 20. Grand Blanc at number 12, and one of our state champions last year, Orchard Lake St. Mary's at number 11.
They have their backfield back this year, their running backs. They're going to be Grant Nemick for one. Their offensive line only has one returner, but that usually isn't a problem at St. Mary's. They have great coaches there. They usually coach their kids up. The real question mark is how Matt Lenahan, their quarterback, is going to take over. Has a good, strong arm, good-sized kid, about 6'2". Then again, he hasn't had the experience. He's going to get it really quick when they go to Muskegon the first night. And
St. Mary's, of course, is going to have their opponents seeing red, and we're talking about the new red turf at up there in Orchard Lake. Kind of a daunting thing, and one of, I think, only three schools that have red turf in the country.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, talking to George Port, their coach, on grass, without the turf, they're undefeated at home against Brother Rice and De La Salle. You can throw that out now. They have a brand new turf, and George is questioning why they made the move. But it looks really good, so we'll see.
Yeah. Continuing with our top 10. Number 10, we have Muskegon. Number 9, Rockford, both West Side teams. Grand Rapids Christian coming in at number 8. Detroit Catholic Central, another veteran of these top 20 lists, is at number 7. And then at number 6, another one of those OAA teams, we have Clarkston.
This could be Clarkston's best team. A few years back, they lost to Sterling Heights Stevenson in the state semifinals, Division I. This team could be even better. 4 offensive linemen back, tight end is back. They're going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Kurt Richardson, their coach, says they're the biggest offensive line he's ever had, and their defensive line is tough too. Look for them to have a big year. They're going to obviously had a tough time in Week 8 against Lake Orion.
Yeah, when you look at their offensive line, they've got a 6'5", 370 guy, or 270 guy, a couple of 6'3", 260, 250 guys. That's almost a college offensive line.
Yeah, they average 260, which is huge for, and they can move too. It's one thing to be big. These kids can move.
Yeah, and for Clarkston, they've always made that one step, made another step. Lake Orion typically gets in the way for the state playoffs. This might be the year for Clarkston that they're able to break through and make a good run toward a state championship. Let's get into our top 5. At number 5, Warren De La Salle with their number 1 player, Shane Morris.
Well, they have a couple of transfers to help them out too, the Wangler brothers. 8 starters back on offense. Defense is perhaps a little question mark there. Open up at Ann Arbor Pioneer. We should find out a lot about De La Salle in that game. Pioneer strong once again. You got to like Shane Morris in this. And Coach Paul Verska is saying they had the most depth at receiver they've had in a long time. That spells bad news for the opposing defenses. Yeah, the Wangler brothers coming over from Royal Oak Shrine, giving Shane Morris some great targets, some athletic guys, too, that he can work with. Number 4 is Lowell from the west side of the state. And then at number 3, Utica Eisenhower. Some people think this is the best team in the state. We shall see. In Division I, I have them right behind Cass Tech. But 8 starters return on both sides of the ball for Ike. New coach Chris Smith, but he's really not new at all. He's been there 15 years, defensive coordinator. They're not going to skip a beat. In fact, this could be a very powerful team, and it just shows how good a job Bob Lancey did last year reaching the state semifinals with such a young group.
We saw with Utica Eisenhower, they made a couple of runs toward the Division I state championship. Didn't quite finish the job. You're saying this might be one of their best teams. This could be that year that they get to the Division I final and finally cap it off.
Joey Zarafa, 3-year starter back, a quarterback, that always helps.
Now, our number 2 team is one of the best stories from last season, Detroit Cass Tech. They were the first PSL team to win a state championship at the highest level, and they're loaded again.
Yeah, they have I don't know, 12, 13 Division I prospects on their team. 8 or 9 of them are seniors. Offensive, defensive lines are really strong. Key here, I think, is J. Rue Campbell, sophomore this year, played so well in the championship game last year. Was inconsistent really throughout the season. Most people who only saw him that one day thinks that, you know, he's the next answer to sliced bread or something. But he really has to show more consistency for Cass Tech to be better if they can be than last year. Let's not forget they were 6-3 during the regular season last year
and didn't win the PSO.
Yeah, and they lost in the semifinals. So, you know, that team didn't gel really until the state playoffs.
And we're going to see what Cass Tech has coming right out the bat because they open the season with our #1 team, Birmingham Brother Rice.
Again, this team's loaded. 6 starters basically returning on both sides of the ball. Kicking game has improved from last year. Have a returning starter at quarterback. One of the best players in the state, John Reschke, going to Michigan State, plays linebacker, will play some tight end. Athletically, he's really good. I have him rated in the top 10 in the state individually. He could be a top 5 performer.
Well, that's a look at our top 20 teams, and all of this information is available online and also in our special section from the Detroit News.
Go online and read it. Good stuff.
For Tom Markowski, I'm Rod Beard, and that's our top 20 teams preview.